بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم.
شروع اللہ کے نام سے جو رحمان و رحیم ہے.
اقرأ بسم ربک الذی خلق.
پڑھو اے نبی اپنے رب کے نام کے ساتھ جس نے پیدا کیا.
خلق الانسان من علق.
جمے ہوئے خون کے ایک لوتھڑے سے انسان کی تخلیق کی.
اقرأ وربک الاکرم.
پڑھو اور تمہارا رب بڑا کریم ہے.
الذی علم بالقلم.
جس نے قلم کے ذریعے سے علم سکھایا.
علم الانسان ما لم يعلم.
انسان کو وہ علم دیا جسے وہ نہ جانتا تھا.
Now I'm going to start viral diseases, the diseases caused by virus in human beings. Okay students, now I'm going to discuss the diseases which are caused by viruses. Diseases caused by viruses, they are also called viral diseases. There are total 15 viral diseases discussed in your book. The first viral disease is called common cold. Common cold is a virus disease that is caused by a virus called rhinovirus. Common cold is a disease in which virus attacks on upper respiratory tract, means your nose and your throat. In this disease, person suffers from fever, runny nose and coughing. This disease usually affects the child of the age of 6, and this disease, the person recovers within a week. The next disease is influenza. Influenza is commonly called flu. This disease is caused by a virus called influenza virus, and this influenza virus attacks on the respiratory system, that includes nose, throat and the lungs. The person who is suffering from this disease face the same symptoms like headache, fever, coughing, sometimes shortness of breathing too. The third viral disease is AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is the name of the disease, and it is caused by a virus called human immunodeficiency virus. What does this virus do? This virus attacks on the immune system. And what is immune system? A system of your body that gives the protection against the germs, bacteria, pathogen, viruses that attacks on the body and cause diseases. What does this virus do? This virus weak or damage the human immune system. This is a very fatal disease. Its vaccine is still not discovered. It is non-curable disease. Chickenpox. Chickenpox is also a viral infection. In chickenpox, the infection is caused by Varicella zoster virus, and what happened during this disease? Rashes and red blisters appears on all parts of the body. Blisters are some sorts of bubble-like structures that shows redness. Dengue fever is the fifth viral disease. Dengue fever is caused by a virus called dengue virus. This disease is transmitted by a mosquito that's we call Aedes mosquito. What happened during this disease? This dengue virus, which is transmitted by the Aedes mosquito, whenever Aedes mosquito bites any human person, then this virus will be transmitted, and it attacks on the liver and the bone marrow, as a result of which white blood cells number counts will become decreased, and person suffers from high fever, vomiting, nausea, loss of appetite, and muscles and joint pain. The sixth viral disease is hand, foot, mouth disease. Hand, foot, mouth disease is caused by a virus that's called Coxsackie virus. What happened during this disease? Sores, in Urdu it is called zakham. Wounds appears on the inside the mouth and hand and feet. The next one is hepatitis. Hepatitis is a inflammatory condition of liver. What is inflammation? Redness and swelling appears on any part of the body. That redness or swelling is called inflammation. What happens during hepatitis? Inflammation of liver takes place by the attack of hepatitis virus. Liver does not function properly. Person suffering from hepatitis suffers from coughing, sneezing, chest pain, fever. Okay, there are 5 types of hepatitis. Number 1, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, hepatitis D, and hepatitis E. Hepatitis A and E are short-term hepatitis which recover within few months, whereas hepatitis B, C, D are the chronic and long-term hepatitis disease. The next one is the measles. Measles is also a viral infection. What virus do measles? Measles virus. What happened during measles? During measles, rashes appears on the skin all over the body. उर्दू में हम इसे कहते हैं खसरा. All over the body there will be some sores or rashes. During this disease, person suffers from high fever, runny nose, inflamed eyes. Okay, next is mumps. Mumps is a disease of throat and tonsils. It is a viral infection which is caused by a paramyxovirus in which swelling appears on the salivary glands and the tonsils. Next is poliomyelitis. Poliomyelitis is a very common disease which you people commonly known as a polio. Poliomyelitis is caused by a virus called poliovirus. Poliovirus attacks on nervous system and cause permanent disability, as well as it attacks on spinal cord and the brain stem. That's why these parts are damaged and person cannot move or they become disabled. Next is rabies. Rabies is also a viral infection which is caused which damage the central nervous system and immune system. It causes inflammation of the brain that leads to madness. Rabies virus is transferred by biting a mad dog. Whenever a mad dog bites a person, from the saliva of the dog, the rabies virus transfer into the body of a human, and as a result of which central nervous system, immune system will become affected and person leads to madness. This is a very lethal and chronic disease. The next one is rubella. Rubella is also a viral infection which we call German measles, and in this disease again rashes appears all over the body and it is caused by a virus called rubella virus. This disease lasts within 3 days. Okay, the number 13 viral disease is called SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome. If it is associated with the coronavirus, then it would be called SARS-CoV. Either it will be a COVID-19 or COVID-1. This disease was first time discovered in 2003 February in China in an animal. After that, it will again discovered in December 2019 again in China, but with a new strain, and that's why this disease is called coronavirus. SARS-CoV-19, SARS, severe acute respiratory syndrome associated with coronavirus disease 2019. What happened during this disease? During this disease, respiratory system is badly affected. Person suffering from sore throat, sores appears inside the throat, person suffering from shortness of breathing, cough, muscles pain, joint pain, and as well as it leads sometime if a person cannot breathe properly, it will lead to death. The vaccine for coronavirus is still not made. Okay, the next one is smallpox. Smallpox is also a viral infection which is caused by a virus called variola virus. During this disease, rashes, sores and rashes appears on the skin, which over the times turn into fluid-filled bumps. Fluid-filled bumps means swelling in which liquid or a fluid is filled with serum. This disease in Urdu is called chechak. Yellow fever. Yellow fever is also a viral disease which is transmitted by a infected mosquito. This virus damage liver, kidney, heart and gastrointestinal tract. Gastrointestinal tract means your digestive system. During this disease, person suffers from high fever, jaundice and hemorrhage. What is hemorrhage? Hemorrhage is a condition in which secretions escapes from the blood vessels. So these are the viral diseases which we have discussed over here. Another disease is discussed in your book, that is called malaria. Malaria is a disease which is not caused by bacteria, which is not caused by virus, which is not caused by fungi. It is a disease which is caused by another type of microorganism, and that microorganism is called Plasmodium. So what is malaria? An infectious disease caused by Plasmodium, and this Plasmodium is carried by mosquito called female Anopheles mosquito. Whenever a female Anopheles mosquito bites a person, that female Anopheles mosquito transfer the Plasmodium, which is a type of microorganism inside the body of human being, and this Plasmodium attacks on the blood as well as on the liver of a human body and completes its cycle within a week or within 2 weeks. Okay, this is all about the diseases caused by viruses, bacteria, fungi and other type of microorganism, that is Plasmodium. Now I am going to move towards another topic, that is how does germs spread. How does germs spread? It means how does germs transfer from person to person, from environment to living organism. There are 4 modes of transmission of germs, or there are 4 modes of spreading of germs. The first one is by contaminated by droplets or air. What happened? How does germs spread? The first mode of spread of germ is by droplets or air. Whenever air contain germs, it will become contaminated, and when you breathe in this kind of air, you will inhale the germs. So this type of spreading is caused by coughing, sneezing, droplets or contaminated air enters in body. And which type of disease caused by this mode of transmission? TB, tuberculosis, flu and corona virus means SARS disease. The second mode of transmission or mode of spread of germ is by contaminated food and water. How does food and water contaminated? The food and water will be contaminated if the bacteria or any other microorganism enters in your food or in your water. If you drinking contaminated water and by eating contaminated food, it will be transferred. Which type of disease cause? It will cause food poisoning, by Escherichia coli bacteria and dysentery, by drinking contaminated water with amoeba. So first one was by droplets or air, second one was by contaminated food and water. The third mode of transmission or the spread of germs is by vectors. What are vectors? Vectors are those living organisms that only carry the germs and transfer it into the body of the host cell. So examples of vectors are mosquito, ticks, lice and fleas. Whenever they bite a human being, they will transfer the microorganism which they carry. So by biting they transfer germs. And which type of diseases caused by this mode of transmission of or this mode of spreading of germ is dengue fever and malaria. As I told you, malaria is caused by plasmodium, which is carried by a mosquito called female Anopheles mosquito. Similarly, dengue fever is caused by a virus called dengue virus, which is transmitted by Aedes mosquito. When Aedes mosquito bites a person, it will transmit the dengue virus into the blood of a person by body fluid. For example, blood. This is the fourth mode of spreading of germs or transmission of germs. How does it happen? By transfusing infected blood. If infected blood is transfused inside the body of human, infected blood means a blood that carry any microorganism or virus. If the infected blood of an infected person is transferred into the non-infected person, then the non-infected person will also get the disease by using personal belongings of infected person. For example, if a person suffering from HIV/AIDS, if a non-infected person use his or her personal belongings like toothbrush, razor, comb or syringes or needles that carry blood with the germs, then this virus or this germ will also transmit it into the body of a non-infected person. In this way, which disease is caused? AIDS. AIDS is caused due to this, as well as hepatitis B. AIDS is easily transmitted by the transfusion of infected blood that carry HIV virus or a hepatitis virus. Similarly, by using a needle, syringe, toothbrush, comb of an infected person, either he or she will be infected with the HIV virus or hepatitis virus. This virus can be easily transmitted by body fluid. Okay, now I am going to discuss, we have already discussed that how does germs spread, किस तरह से germs spread हो रहे हैं. Now the next point or the next topic is how can we prevent the spreading of germs, how can we avoid the spread of germs? So the next topic is prevention against spreading of germs. Prevention against spreading of germs and infectious diseases. It means how can we avoid to catch the or to spread the germs or to spread the infectious diseases. There are so many ways to avoid the spread of germs. As all of you know that prevention is better than cure, so you have to follow some precautionary measures to avoid the spread of germs. Here is a checklist of precautionary measures that if you will follow these precautionary measures, you will not come into contact with any kind of germs, with any kind of pathogen. As all of you know, is coronavirus is spreading all around our environment, and we have to follow the SOPs as well as some precautionary measures to not affect by this virus. So what you have to do? Number 1, wash your hand. Wash your hand frequently with antiseptic, soap, sanitizers before and after eating, after going to toilet, before cooking and after cooking. The next, avoid crowded places. If you are sick, you should avoid the crowded places, so you cannot transfer the disease to other person. If you are not sick, then also avoid the crowded places, because you never know who is suffering from any viral, bacterial or fungal disease. Number 3 is, do not use personal belongings of infected person. Do not use the personal belonging of infected person, either he or she is suffering from any viral, fungal or bacterial disease. And personal belongings, as all of you know, include toothbrush, comb, shaving razor, etc. The 4th one is, wash fruits and vegetables. Wash fruits before eating, wash vegetables before cooking. Now, number 5th one, keep left over food in refrigerator. Do not left the cooked food in your kitchen. It will be contaminated easily by bacteria or any fungus. So always keep the leftover food in refrigerator. Number 6, keep your kitchen and home clean. Number 7, use antiseptics. What are antiseptics? Antiseptics are the chemical compounds that are used to kill or destroy the germs present on the non-living things or on the surface of non-living things. So always disinfect your antiseptics are those chemical compounds that are used to kill the germs present on the skin or on the living things. So whenever you come into the house or your home from outside, you will have to wash your hand with an antiseptic. It will kill the germs or bacteria present on your body. Use disinfectants. What are disinfectants? Disinfectants are the chemicals used to destroy germs on non-living things. This is the number 8 precautionary measure. Number 9 is get vaccinated. There are so many diseases whose vaccine are available in hospitals, like measles, mumps, polio, rabies. Get smallpox, measles, mumps, influenza virus. Get vaccinated from these diseases. So you can, whenever the virus of such disease enters in your body, that vaccine helps you to fight against this virus. Complete the course of antibiotic. Whenever you take antibiotics, only take the antibiotics whenever it is necessary, and complete the course of antibiotics prescribed by your physician. Do not left the course in the middle, even if you have recovered from the illness. Now I am going to start the next topic, that is body defense against infectious diseases. How your body work against the infectious diseases, or when you get any microorganism. Body defense against infectious diseases. How your body respond or provides you defense against infectious diseases. So whenever your body comes in contact with any kind of microorganism or your virus, your body defense mechanism or your body defense system starts to fight against this microorganism, either it is bacteria or a fungi and viruses. What makes up the body defense system? The body defense system is made up of natural barriers, and these natural barriers are the physical barriers that include skin, lysozyme enzyme in sweat, saliva, tear, as well as hydrochloric acid, which is present in stomach, and also mucous membrane, which are the lining of organs of respiratory system and digestive system. These are all the natural barriers. What your skin do as a natural barrier? On your skin there is a layer which is made up of dead cells that called epidermis. Epidermis is a waterproof layer that inhibit the invasion or the entrance of germs and microorganism. If you have cut and wound, then the microorganism or a virus can invade or enter in your body. In your eyes there are tears, in your mouth there is a saliva, and on your skin there is a sweat. All these three things contain an enzyme that's called lysozyme enzyme, and these lysozyme enzyme breaks the cell wall of bacteria, and when the bacterial cell wall is removed or break, then bacteria will die. So on the skin, sweats helps you to fight against the bacteria. If the bacteria enters in your mouth, then saliva, the lysozyme enzyme in the saliva will kill the bacteria, and whenever a microorganism or any other particle enters in your eyes, then the lysozyme in your eyes will kill them. If a microorganism like bacteria enters in your stomach or enters in your digestive system during the process of digestion, when when the food is broken down into smaller pieces in different parts of digestive system, if the bacteria escape from the lining of esophagus and enters into the stomach, then inside the stomach there is a gastric juice that contain HCl acid that kills the bacteria, that kills the harmful bacteria. In this way, HCl protects you against germ, bacteria and other microorganisms. Another most important natural barrier is mucous membrane, as your digestive system and respiratory system are the systems which are directly contact with the external environment. When you breathe in or breathe out, the air enters from the surrounding in your body, and that air may contain some germs, some viruses, some bacteria. So inside the organs or the respiratory tract, there is a lining which is made up of mucus, that's called mucous membrane. That mucous membrane has the ability to trap the bacteria, to trap the microorganism and kill them. If the microorganism still escape from the mucous membrane that is present inside the respiratory system as well as in digestive system, then the second part of your body defense system, that is called immune system, will become activated. And what does makes up the immune system? Immune system is made up of white blood cells and antibodies. Students, what is immune system? Immune system is a system of your body that provides your body immunity against the disease. And what is immunity? Immunity is the resistance against germs, pathogens. पैथोजेंस और जर्म्स के खिलाफ जो पावर होती है आपकी बॉडी की, दैट इज कॉल्ड इम्यूनिटी. एंड इम्यून सिस्टम इज मेड अप ऑफ white blood cells and antibodies. As all of you know that white blood cells are the guards of your body that fight against pathogens, either they are bacteria, virus or germs. How does white blood cells helps your body to fight against diseases? Number one, by attacking and killing infected cell. Whenever a bacteria or germ enter in your body and pass out from all the natural barriers, then white blood cells attack on these germs or the infected cells that enters into your body and kill them. If the virus, if the white blood cell failed to attack or kill that pathogen or the germ, then it engulfs them. The other cells of white blood cells will engulf these pathogens. Some types of white blood cells attacks and kill the infected cells. If it is not possible, then other types of white blood cells engulf them. What is the meaning of engulfing? Engulfing, it is also called phagocytosis, in which bacteria eat up the germs, in which white blood cell eat up the germs or the pathogens. And in the last stage, white blood cells produce antibodies. If it is not possible for the white blood cell to kill the pathogen or the germs or to engulf them, then the white blood cells produce a special type of proteins. That protein is called antibody that attach with the antigen. that attach with the antigen. Now what is antigen? Any foreign particle or any particle which is foreign for the body, बाहर से बॉडी के अंदर एंटर होने वाली कोई भी चीज, either it is a bacteria, it is a virus, it is a fungal spore, they all are antigen for the body. So what happened? What does what does white blood cells do? They produce antibodies against that antigen. The every antibody is produced by the white blood cell for a specific antigen. Not all the antibodies can control or attack all the antigens. A specific antibodies produced by the white blood cell for a specific antigen, and then these antibody attach with the antigen and kill that antigen that carry germs, bacteria or viruses. The immune system always remember the antibody which he made one time. Whenever the antigen of that specific body again attacks on your body or again enter in your body, then the white blood cells directly starts to produce the specific antibody for that antigen and kill them. In this way, your body defense mechanism works, which is made up of natural barriers, skin, lysozyme enzyme, HCl and mucous membrane, and the immune system, which is made up of white blood cells and antibodies. And what are antibodies? Antibodies are the proteins produced by the white blood cells that attach with a specific antigen and kill them. Okay. Now another topic is vaccination or immunization. There are some diseases, vaccination. What is vaccination? Vaccination is basically introduction of vaccine either orally or by injections. What is vaccination? Vaccination is the introduction of vaccine either orally or by injection. Now what is vaccine? Vaccine is a chemical substance that is made up of dead or weakened germs. Vaccine is a chemical substance or a medicinal drug that is made up of dead or the weakened germ or from extract of dead or weakened germs. What does vaccine do? Its function is stimulate immune system to produce antibodies. So what is vaccination? Vaccination is basically the introduction of dead or weakened germs. Whenever dead or weakened germs enter into your body, they are also antigens. So your body's immune system start to make antibodies against them. Because they are dead, they do not harm you. But whenever the specific virus or a specific bacteria for a specific antibody attacks on your body, then these antibodies which is already present in your, inside your blood will attack them and kill them. There are so many vaccines present, there are so many vaccines which are given to the children like polio vaccine, measles, mumps, chicken pox. These vaccines are पहले से ही वो स्टूडेंट्स को दे दी जाती है. These vaccines are given to the child before they get the specific virus so that their body will produce the antibodies against these pathogens against, like if you are get vaccinated with the polio vaccine, whenever a polio virus attacks on your body has already made the antibodies against the polio vaccine. That antibodies will kill the polio virus. Similarly, if you get vaccinated with tuberculosis, tetanus, measles, mumps, smallpox, chickenpox, then whenever any of the virus or a bacteria that can cause such kind of diseases enters in your body, then the antibodies which is already made by your immune system will kill them. So this process is called immunization or vaccination. Okay students, if you are still get disease and your immune system cannot work to kill the bacteria, to kill the virus, to kill the fungal spores, then you need some treatment, and in this case you will use some medicinal drugs. So the next part is how does medicine helps? If your immune system or your body defense mechanism cannot kill the germs, if your immune system is weak, then the bacteria will succeed and escape from the immune system and cause infection in the particular organ on which it attacks. In this condition, your physician will prescribe you some medicines, and these medicines are antibiotics, antivirals and antifungals. Antibiotics are used to treat bacterial diseases, antivirals used to treat viral diseases, and antifungals are used to treat fungal diseases. Still there are some diseases, there are some viruses whose vaccines are still not developed, like AIDS. AIDS is a disease which is caused by a virus called HIV virus. The vaccine of HIV virus is still not developed, as well as the vaccine for coronavirus which can cause a disease called SARS, severe acquired respiratory syndrome. This disease vaccine is also not still developed. So these diseases are not curable. Students, now the chapter number 3, whose name is microorganism and diseases, is completed now, in which we have discussed number 1, what are microorganisms, in which we have discussed about bacteria, other types of microorganisms like amoeba, paramecium, euglena, chlorella, and as well as we have discussed about fungi, microscopic fungi like bread mold, penicillium, yeast. Then we have discussed about some diseases which is caused by bacteria, virus, and as well as fungi. Before that, we are also discussed about are microorganisms useful, in which we have discussed about biotechnology, use of biotechnology, how to make yogurt, as well as what are antibiotics and how the first antibiotic was discovered. Then we discuss about the diseases caused by microorganism, virus, bacteria and fungi, as well as the disease caused by plasmodium, which is malaria. Then we have discussed how do germs spread. We discussed in which we have discussed 4 modes of germs spreading of germs. Number 1 by droplets or air, number 2 by contaminated food and water, number 3 by vectors, number 4 was by body fluids. After that, we have discussed some precautionary measures to avoid the spread of germs or the infectious diseases, in which we discussed 10 precautionary measures, and then we have also discussed how our body defense mechanism work against the infectious diseases, which is made up of two things, natural barriers and an immune system. And then we have discussed about the vaccine and the vaccination, and at the last we discussed which type of medicine used in infectious diseases, like antibiotics which are used in bacterial diseases, antivirus which are used in viral diseases, antifungus which are used in fungal diseases. One more important topic of that chapter was also how do germs release energy. Microorganism release energy. This is a very short topic that is remain. Microorganisms, just like all the living organisms, microorganisms also need nutrients and food. How they get nutrients and food? They get nutrients and food from their host body during the process of respiration. Let's take an example of baking of bread. Whenever we bake our bread, what we will do? We will use yeast, which is a fungus. What does yeast do? The yeast is a fungus which is used in the process of baking to make the bread fluffy. What happened during the baking process? The yeast, which is a fungus, use the sugar and the starch which is present in the dough during the process of respiration. And during the process of respiration, it releases carbon dioxide gas, and that carbon dioxide gas trapped inside the dough. What happened? This is a two-way process. Yeast release carbon dioxide which is trapped inside the dough of the bread, and as a result yeast get nutrients or energy from that dough in the form of starch and in the form of sugar. When the dough is baked, the gases will expand during baking, as a result of which the size of the dough will increase. In this way your dough will rise, as a result of which yeast get food and energy from that dough, and dough will rise. So here I have completed this chapter. Now what you have to do in your copies, you have to complete the all review questions which are given on page number 67. The question number 1 of chapter number 3 is what are microorganisms? Give 3 examples. In the beginning of the chapter we have discussed the definition of microorganism, that microorganism are the two smallest living organism which can only be seen by the help of microorganism microscope, and we have already discussed so many examples. You can copy the question from this page and write down the answer from the content solution. Then question number 2 is rearrange the following from the smallest to the largest in terms of their physical size. We have already discussed the size of bacteria, yeast and fungi. Now what you have to do in question number 2, you will arrange all these organisms according to their size. The first one will be molecule, the second one will be virus, the third one will be bacteria, and the fourth one will be yeast. What you have to do in question number 3, you have to correct the following statement. There are statement A, B, C, D, E, F and G. Any one of them, if it is not correct, then what you have to do, you have to correct the statement. Statement number 1, microorganism can only be found on non-living things. No, it is found on everywhere. Viruses are microorganisms? No, viruses are not microorganisms, they are microscopic particles. All types of fungi are microorganisms? No, all types of fungi are not microorganisms. Only microorganisms are harmful to us? No, microorganisms are not only harmful to us, they are useful for us. Only human gets diseases, plants and animals do not get diseases. This is also false. Plants, animals, humans all get diseases. Mosquitoes and fleas are the germs. This statement is also wrong. Mosquitoes and fleas are not the germs, they are vectors. Antibiotics can be used to destroy viruses? No. As you can see on the board, antibiotics are used to treat the bacterial disease, whereas antivirus are used in viral diseases. Write down the 3 common shapes of bacteria. We have already discussed that bacteria has 3 common shapes: rod shape, spiral shape and spherical shape. Write down one way in which fungi can be benefit for us and one way in which it can harm us. So I have already told you in this topic how do microorganisms release energy. Yeast is used in making bread to make the bread fluffy. Yeast is used in baking to make the bread fluffy, as well as from fungus we can get so many diseases, like yeast can cause oral thrush and Puccinia can cause rust disease on plants. Okay. The question number 6 is infectious disease are the disease caused by microorganisms and viruses. What are microorganisms and viruses that cause disease? So the organisms that cause infectious disease are called pathogens or germs. This is the answer. Give 3 examples of disease caused by bacteria and viruses. We have discussed total 9 bacterial diseases and 15 viral diseases. You can take 3 diseases from that chart, from chart of bacterial diseases, and 3 diseases from the chart of viral diseases. Okay, question number 7a, list 4 ways in which germs can spread. We have already discussed there are the 4 modes of spreading of germ. Number 1 by droplet or air, number 2 by contaminated food and water, number 3 by vectors, and number 4 by blood, by body fluid. How does frequent washing of the hand with soap and water help to prevent the spread of germs and infectious disease? किस तरह से बार बार हाथ धोने से आप जो है वो germs और diseases से बच जाते हैं? Frequent washing of hand with the soap is very helpful for us because in the soap there are some antiseptic chemicals present that can kill the bacteria present on the skin of your hand. Describe briefly how white blood cells protect us from diseases. In human defense mechanism against the disease, in which we discuss about white blood cells. White blood cells can kill the germs by 3 ways. Number 1 by engulfing them, number 2 by attacking or killing the infected cell, number 3 by producing antibodies that bind to the specific antigen. Then you have to do the try it out. First of all, you will do review questions from page number 67, 68 of content solution. Review question 1 to 8. Then you will do try it out. Try it out is present on page number 62. What you will do in this try it out? You have to do this try it out by yourself. The flu season is here. Using your knowledge of what you know about the cause of flu, it means what you have to do, you will write first heading that cause of flu, that is also called causative agent. And what is the causative agent? Causative agent is influenza virus. You will also draw influenza virus. Then what you will do next, you will give the heading how does it spread. Write 5 points, and the third heading will be how it can be prevented. Also write 5 points. What will you do? You will make a leaflet like this. You will make a leaflet on a transparent page like this. You will make 3 parts. On first part, you will give the heading cause of flu, causative agent and its diagram. On the second page, you will write the heading how does it spread, its 5 points along with the diagram. and on third page you will write how it can be prevented with 5 points and diagram. This will be attached on the copy. Now, and another thing, that is, think about it, page number 65. Think about it, page number 65. Why are patients not prescribed with antibiotics when they have chickenpox? Because chickenpox is a viral disease, so antibiotics cannot be used to treat this disease. In the last, what you have to do, you will do a think tank which is present on page number 68. Think tank number 1, page number 68. What is think tank? Scientific discoveries are serendipitous discoveries. What is the meaning of serendipitous? Serendipitous meaning accidentally, something that is happened accidentally. Do you agree? Use the discovery of penicillin by Alexander Fleming to support your case. So what are they asking? They are asking that all the scientific discoveries are serendipitous. What do you think? So the answer is all the scientific discoveries are not serendipitous. Only some scientific discoveries are serendipitous, and in case of penicillin, the discovery of penicillin was not serendipitous. Scientists worked on it and found the first antibiotic, penicillin. So students, I hope you have got all the points. Still, if you have any problem, then watch the video again and again. We will meet in the next video. Remember one thing, do the diary also related to my lecture, and that is draw a chart that shows microorganisms like bacteria, fungi and viruses. This is the diary related to the lecture, and this is the diary related to copy work. Complete your work. In your copy, do review question number 1 to question number 8, try it out, page number 62, think about it, page number 65, think tank number 1, page number 68, and then you will do the diary related to the lecture. We will meet in the next video with the next chapter, chapter number 4. Till then, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.